Hello,
He's Oliver,
she's Lucy,
and you're listening to Anyway Movies,
the podcast of film fanatics and movie maniacs.
the podcast of discussions, debates, and occasional distractions as we talk about all things cinema.
If you like what you hear, be sure to like our Facebook page and follow us on podcasting platforms.
Big shout out to my sister Molly for creating the logo and images for our podcast. Give her a follow on Instagram at _Molly_Joanne_.
Now that's all out of the way, dim the lights, turn the projector on, and let's start the episode.
Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Anyway Movies. We hope you've had an amazing day so far, but it's about to get even better because me and Oliver are about to do one of the best episodes we have ever done.
This is going to be one of our best episodes ever. I'm feeling it.
So today we are going to be talking about movies that are not musicals that we would like to see as a stage musical. So if you've been following this podcast since the beginning, you will know that me and Oliver, we met through theatre. We both did performing arts at college and musical theatre at college. So it's kind of musicals that brought us both into this friendship. And hence, through this friendship came the podcast.
Yeah, and we've had some very interesting experiences because of musicals. And when you go through things that we went through, you're bonded for life.
And also, we are recording this on the 25th of May, 2021. So if you're listening to this in the future and one of these musicals is now a thing, then we called it.
Yeah, we want our 10% or whatever.
Yeah, we want our cut, please. This was our
There you
idea.
Go. We came up with it first.
Yeah, so this is movies that has no music or very little music in it that we can possibly see making some sort of great musical with loads of songs, dance, all of that sort of stuff that we both love.
And of course, if you have any ideas of your own, please let us know.
So Oliver, would you like to start us off with your first movie musical?
Okay, I'm just going to go for this one first. My first movie I'd like to see as a musical is The Adventures of Robin Hood, which is a 1938 film starring Errol Flynn as Robin Hood. I don't know if you've seen it.
I have not.
I've watched this movie so many times growing up. I watched it a lot with my granddad. I've watched it a couple of times with my dad. I haven't actually watched it in years, but it was very much present. And it has that old-timey fairy tale feel to it, with like in old Disney movies when the theme would play and it would be like fancy writing and the first letter would be in sort of like a weird block of colour.
Oh yeah, I missed that. That needs to come back.
Where they open the storybook. Well, that's kind of how it starts as well. A lot of people know the story of Robin Hood anyway. And obviously, there's already been a Disney musical version of it, but that's too tame. I want to see some like proper, creative, in-person fight scenes. I want to see a charming, roguish lead that has some depth. In my version of the Robin Hood musical, I would actually keep Maid Marian as she is, very much a product of her time, but I would try and present it in a way that shows that just because she is a young girl who likes dresses and maybe she might get captured or whatever, that doesn't mean she's weak or she's not just a damsel in distress. But I don't want to make her like this kick-ass, badass woman because I feel like that's done too much in general. Like that's the only kind of strong woman. What about the women that like girly things in air quotes? They can be just as strong just because they can't kick some ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah, completely agree.
I'd like to see more of that represented, and so I think May Marian would be a great choice. Similar to how we've talked about this quite a lot, but like how Princess Jasmine in the live action Aladdin still remains very true to her character in the animated film, but still is quite a strong woman.
Mm-hmm.
Or like how Belle in Beauty and the Beast, she is a strong woman, but she's not like a kick-ass woman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like more of these kind of characters. I'd love to see more of those kind of characters. And just think of the possibilities of like the music, because like you could have obviously the Merry Men could be part of both the ensemble and their own thing. Kind of like in Shrek the Musical, when the fairy tale creatures have like their own songs. Like the Merry Men could have their own songs, kind of broken up similarly, but obviously have them be part of the bigger adventure as well.
I would love the Merry Men to have a massive Act One closer.
Yeah, that would be so great, wouldn't it? I just think it would be really fun. What do you think?
No, I absolutely love that. A Robin Hood musical is definitely right up my street. And even though I haven't seen the version that you have been talking about, that has actually made me want to go and see it, even though it isn't a musical. But I really want to see that now.
It brings back so many memories of childhood. Okay, what's your first movie to be musical?
Okay, so I have been a little bit extra with my choices. So not only have I written down what movie I want to see as a musical, but I've also picked what composer and lyricist to do the music.
Okay.
With these three films that I've chosen, there was a specific composer I already had in mind. So I just thought that I'd mention them as well. So
Yeah.
my first choice is Stardust, and the composer for this musical in my dream fantasy head is Stephen Schwartz.
Ooh. Okay, I like where this is going.
So Stephen Schwartz has been basically every musical you can think of. He's probably had some word in it. Like he did the music for Wicked, he did some of the music for Prince of Egypt, he did some of the music for Hunchback of Notre Dame. He has done a lot. And I think that his sort of style will really suit the story of Stardust. A lot of
Mm.
S's. Wow. Um, I mean, I actually have a confession. I have not seen Stardust in about 9 years. So my memory of it is very hazy, but this is actually one of the first films I thought of. Imagine the look of this on a stage.
I was gonna say look wise, I'm feeling very sort of similar to Into the Woods vibes.
Yes, can you just imagine the sets, the costumes, the
Mm.
the stage effects, the special effects, the lighting? I can just see it in my head. I just love it for the vibe. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't have a lot to explain here. I just think it will look incredible and it has such good potential to have some beautiful, gorgeous music in with such a family tale because Stardust is family oriented. So it'll be very popular with families and kids, and I think it might do quite well if this turns out to be a thing. Also, I have an amazing idea for a villain duet between Lamia and Septimus. Excuse me. Like, I really want that to be a thing. I mean, that's one of the songs that I'm already thinking about. But, there's a lot that can be done with Stardust. It's a great story. And I think enough time has passed for it to make a comeback.
Oh yeah, definitely. It feels like ages.
Yeah, it's been ages since that film came out, and obviously it was based on the book by Neil Gaiman as well. So I think enough time has passed, and I think it's ready to make a comeback. And it was one of my favorite childhood films as well. I loved watching it growing up. So yeah, I just think it'll make a really good musical.
Question of the day is, will Take That's Rule the World be part of the...
Absolutely. Absolutely, Oliver. That is my answer. Imagine like a whole orchestrated rule the world.
Oh, that could be either like that would come across as incredibly cheesy, but it could be like cheesy but good, but cheesy but bad. So you'd have to be careful with that one.
I mean, unless instead of doing the song rule the world, maybe it's sort of like a theme.
Oh,
The instrumental of Rule the World is woven into the music.
it's the overture.
It's the overture. That could, yeah, that has legs. That has legs, Oliver.
Honestly, I love your idea so much.
So, what are your other ideas? What's your next one?
Okay, so my next one, I'm very excited about this one. Night at the Museum, the musical.
Ah, no way.
Oh my god, it would be so cool.
It would. Oh my
I,
goodness. I can totally see that.
I mean, we might be the only two people who think it, but that's enough for me. It'd be so cool because obviously the movies are quite family friendly. So again, like you said with Stardust, it'd be a good family musical.
Oh, for sure.
It'd be a good way to sort of have like little historical teachings. You know, you've got Teddy Roosevelt, a Prince of Egypt, you've got Sacagawea, you've got these characters that could teach parts of history.
Mm.
Like there could be a whole number when Theo is showing Larry around the museum and sort of like helping him. Like that number could be Larry learning about certain like historical points in time, and by learning who the exhibits are. It'd be a great way to have quite a diverse cast as well.
It kind of gives me a horrible histories vibe.
Oh yeah, you'd have to have a mechanical moving dinosaur and skeleton, but that would be fine.
They did the Plant and Little Shop of Horrors. You can do anything.
Well, I was thinking if it was like walking with dinosaurs.
Or you can do what they do with Warhorse
Yeah,
and make that be the dinosaur. Oh my
yeah,
god.
yes,
And also a comedic song for Jeremiah and Octavius, please.
of course. You can't not have that.
They're my
And I
favourite characters in the entire film. I love them.
and I just think it would be it's a good modern musical.
Yeah, it is.
And it's got a good plot and it's quite easy to follow and you could just have a good time with it. And I just because obviously like the first one was like so funny as well.
Mm.
Bring that humor to the stage. I love this idea so much. But yeah, Night at the Museum. That's my second choice.
So my next choice is quite a recent film. I have chosen Knives Out, the musical. And the composer for this I have chosen, and I do have a good reason for this, is Stephen Sondheim.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Knives Out is a very odd film. So, with an odd film has to come odd music. And Stephen Sondheim is the pinnacle of odd bops. And I just think his style will just suit the story so well because even the score to Knives Out is very bitty and cuts away and very sharp. And I think that Sondheim's music can sort of match that as well and give it the same sort of vibe and colour.
Yeah.
I already have a title for a song.
Okay.
Now, you haven't seen Knives Out, so I won't spoil it for you. But there is a scene in which there is a will read of the person who is murdered. I have called this song The Will Reading, and it's going to be kind of like the Not Getting Married Today song from Company.
I love that song.
So the will is going to be read out really, really fast, and then all of the reactions from all of the family, all of the Thrombey family, are all going to be in the lyrics as well, and it's all going to be really fast and quick and hilarious, like it
Mm.
is in the film. So that's already an idea I have. Yeah, like there's just so many opportunities for solos as well, because a lot of the characters have their own sort of backstory and plot line that follows through the film, so you have a lot of opportunity for that, and also a lot of kind of anti-hero songs. And again, the style, the costumes for Knives Out were amazing, and I'm pretty sure that West End or Broadway can match that if need be. Yeah, I just think a murder mystery musical sounds quite interesting.
I don't think I actually know any other murder mystery musicals.
I mean, there probably is one that we've not remembering, but I just think something like that would be so cool, and will probably be very, very different to what has been on the West End or Broadway before. Because if we can't think of a murder mystery musical from the top of our heads without going to Google, then surely it needs to be done. The time is
Yeah.
now, the day is here, one day more.
Another day, another destiny. I genuinely love that idea so much.
No, I love thinking about it. I can just see it in my head.
Mm.
So yes, Knives Out. So Oliver, do you want to move on to your third and final choice?
Okay, so I had two possible ideas for my third choice, and I liked them both, but I didn't want to use both because they are very similar and come from the same place. So I've decided to go for Toy Story. My main idea for this is I have two ideas of how this could work. Well, they both involve puppets. The first idea is to have the characters, like how Olaf is done on in Frozen on Broadway,
Oh yes.
where it's like a walking puppet, and then it's just the person stood behind him who's the actual voice and the singer. So that kind of idea for the characters. So that way they'll actually look like just big toys, or have the people as the characters just in costume, but then have sort of the makeup done to make it look a bit shiny, like it's plastic or wood or whatever the toy's made out of, like a nice sheen to it, and then have the human characters in the film be like giant puppets, but have them be like normal humans. So then the audience are looking at it from the perspective of the toys as well.
Oh, I really like that.
Yeah, so those are my two ideas for how conceptually it could be done. And I would just really like to see, just imagine like the Buzz Lightyear on a wire just flying across the stage.
Oh, I know. The kids would love that as well.
Exactly. And you could include a lot of those, those adult jokes that are in kids' movies that we don't get, and then we go back and watch them like 10, 15 years later, and then we just lose ourselves because of how funny they are and how annoyed we were that we didn't get it the first time.
Yeah.
Could include so many of those kind of jokes. I feel like each toy could have their own kind of genre, but have them sort of meld into each other. So like Woody's solo, I would imagine being sort of a combination of more of a traditional musical theatre song, but with elements of Western, kind of like in a sort of like Oklahoma kind of style.
Yeah.
Then have like Buzz Lightyear have very sort of like futuristic, like 80s synth, do do do, and like have like a really creepy theme for Sid. Oh, just this is all sort of coming to life in my head as I'm talking about it. Like I had sort of like these little notes, and I'm just talking them through. And the more I talk about it, the more it sort of is like appearing in my head. And I think out of the three, it's like my least favorite, but I still really like it.
I love how you've made it how it would look on the stage. I can definitely see that. And I can imagine every single time Sid comes on stage, the lighting gets really dark and scary.
Yeah. You could also have it so it's sort of like his voice looms over and you can almost hear him before you actually see him.
Yeah.
Similar to how, say, the giant would be done in Jack and the Beanstalk. And I feel like in that, because obviously it's a Pixar film, you could have sort of elements of other Disney Pixar movies in it,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
like little Easter eggs. Like, obviously, you should have the lampshade. You should have that yellow ball with the blue stripe and the red star. That has to be in there somewhere. In Sid's room, maybe, because obviously he's a disturbed kid, have like drawings of like maybe monsters on the walls that are reminiscent of the characters from Monsters Inc. I could see him being a kid terrorized by Randall.
Yes, definitely. He's definitely turned into one of those screaming children from Monsters Inc. That is
Yeah,
where Sid's story ended up.
perfect. See, it all comes together in the end. But yeah, that's my third and final choice, and I'm quite happy with it. So, on to you, my lovely.
Right, so my third and final choice is Corpse Bride.
I love
And
this film.
I know. And the people I've chosen for this is so I know that he isn't really a stage musical person, but you can't do it without Danny Elfman. He did the score for the film, and I do know that there are songs in Corpse Bride. This is kind of cheating a little bit, but there aren't loads. Like Corpse Bride doesn't really constitute as a musical. People don't call it a musical. I don't think there's enough songs in it to be called a musical, so that's why I went with it. But Danny Elfman did the music and songs for it, so I think that he should do it again for the stage musical, but also be partnered with Alan Menken.
I was waiting to see if he was going to crop up at any point.
It has to be a rule that every single musical has to have some sort of put in from Alan Menken.
Otherwise, it's just wrong.
Otherwise, it's just wrong. I think that both of their styles will mesh really well and
Mm.
will write some more absolutely gorgeous songs. Because I do like the songs from Corpse Bride, but I think making it a stage musical will give them the opportunity to dig a little deeper into them, kind of like what they did with Hunchback of Notre Dame. Hunchback of Notre Dame, the film, is wonderful, and the songs in it are belters. But if you listen to the Broadway version, it is so much better because they had more time, they had more songs, they had more tunes that they scrapped from the film because it was too long. So I think Corpse Bride can definitely benefit from being a full stage musical instead of an hour and a half cartoon.
Yeah.
Again, so much opportunity for stage effects, costumes, lighting. Can you imagine this set?
Oh, it would look incredible.
Everything about it, I think, screams musical to me. I think it would do really well. It would translate really well on stage. It'd be the perfect one for Halloween.
Mm.
It would rival Beetlejuice, but oh well. But yeah, I just think Corpse Bride will make an amazing stage musical. It's definitely one that I can definitely see being a thing in the future. I actually think this one might happen.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised that it's not already a thing.
Mm, same.
I remember because I hadn't watched that movie when it came out, or when it was like a big thing, and I hadn't seen, and I think the first time I watched it was only a couple of years ago because people around me were like, "How have you not seen it?"
It's really good.
You get so creative as well with the look.
Oh yeah, definitely. And with the songs as well, with
Mm,
Victor and his piano playing, there's a lot that can be done with that. It needs to be a thing, please. In fact, I think every single film we've talked about in this episode deserves to have its own stage show. Like now we've come to light all of the ideas that we have for them. I
yeah.
want to see all of these now.
Do you want to see like which one of mine do you think's your favorite, and which one of my yours is my favorite?
Yeah, sure. So out of yours, I definitely would rather see Night in the Museum. That
Mm,
is such a good idea. Even though I'm 22, I would be first in line for tickets. I think the ideas that you have are just so creative, and especially when you take into account all of the educational benefits that can come with it. It's kind of like Hamilton in that sense, sort of teaching the audience about history through really good music. There's definitely a lot of things you can do with that, so I would definitely much prefer to see Night Museum, but of course all of your ideas were very good.
for me, I think my favorite of yours, I'm gonna have to go with Corpse Bride, just because out of the three, that is the one that I feel like I would just dive to get
Mm,
tickets for. I'd
yeah,
see them, I'd go for them.
yeah.
I'd be really interested in seeing Knives Out as a musical.
Oh, I just wish that I could write music and then I could just do it myself, but no.
Just give give Alan Menken a call and say, I've got this
Yeah, oh
idea.
yes. Yes, Oliver, I have Alan Menken's number on speed dial.
Uh, with that being said, I think that's it. So thank you so much for listening. Lucy, where can the people find our podcast?
So we do have a Facebook page, so go check us out on that. And we are also on every single podcasting platform that you can think of, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, Anchor. And we also, if that wasn't enough, have a YouTube channel. So we're basically everywhere. So follow us, please.
Again, let us know what movies as musicals you would like to see. What ideas from us were your favourites? Were the ones that you weren't so keen on, or you think you liked but had better ideas? Let us know. Love you and leave you till next week.
Yep, see you next week.